What is up, everybody? Josh here again, and today we have a new Once Human video for you. Hey, we now have the Way of Winter update. We're going to be going over in this video how to counter cold and heat. In this video, we're going to try to go over all the ways that you can manage those temperatures that are very important in this new update. Let's get into it, shall we? The first we're going to talk about is how to counter cold. And cold is probably going to be one of the very first ones that you have to counter in this game. So one of the very first places you're going to land is going to be Vina Fjord. This area right here is going to be the starter area. It's going to be kind of difficult at first. You do need some cold resist in this area, and you don't really need heat resist in this area. The only area you really need heat resist in this whole entire map is over here in Ember Strand, typically, or around some ores that emit heat. Over in Onyx Tundra, you don't actually have to worry about heat as well, but it is cold here and here, especially in the snow biome. When you're in game, you're going to notice on the very bottom of your mini map, there is a icon there, and it'll tell you how cold or hot you currently are. And as long as you're not in the blue section or the red section, you should be fairly good as far as your resistances go. Now, one of your very first items that you're going to be able to pick up when you first start Way of Winter is going to be this right here, a Spikemato. And these are new plants that are added in Way of Winter. And what the Spikematos do is they give you some warmth, which is 5 resistance to cold. So you can just straight up eat that, and that will give you 5 cold resistance straight out of the bat. Now, these Spikematos are literally everywhere on the map. Now, one of my absolute favorite places to get Spikematos is actually around in this area right here. You can actually get Spikematos quite a bit, especially around in here. All you got to do is kind of teleport to this teleport right here, which is Frost North Teleportation Tower, and just walk around or drive around. You're not going to go too far until you figure out that you're going to have a ton of Spikematos. And here's another one. There's all kinds of Spikematos around here. You can sit there and just walk for a little while and gather as many Spikematos as you need. So just keep in mind that this is probably one of my favorite places and a really good place to get a ton of Spikematos. You can also get like blueberries and stuff here as well. So grabbing some Spikematos and just eating those whenever you go into a cold area or you get cold. But if you're watching your meter in the top right of your screen, just eat one of those if you get cold. So that's going to help you a little bit with the cold debuff. I'm going to show you another way real quick. Another way to get great heat resistance as well, on top of that +5 from the Spikemato, is to make you a Heatium rock. And they're quite easy to make. We'll show you how to unlock that. You're going to hit O as an Oscar and go to your Memetics. And under Infrastructure, you're going to notice that Polar Expedition, #1, you can unlock the ability to make a Thorium. Might be murdering the names, but Heatium, and of course Coldium as well. Coldium will help with any kind of heat that you need to counter later on in the game. And then you can craft it in any of the supply workbenches once you unlock this with meme points. This is your base material. You need to make a Thorium, and it just requires gravel. It's quite easy to make. It's just 20 gravel, and then you craft one of those up, and then once you have that crafted, you can then craft a Heatium, and a Heatium is going to give you 10. Did you just push me? Anyway, a Heatium is going to require one of the Thorium. So if you make one of the Thorium, I don't know how you pronounce that, you're going to make a Heatium, and all you need is charcoal, which is quite easy. You get wood, you put it in the furnace, and it makes charcoal. He pushed me again, and then you can craft the Heatium, and a Heatium will give you that +10 heat or cold resistance. And it does last 60 minutes, so it's only 60 minutes, but it will give you +10 cold resistance, and then you just take that, and it sits in your inventory. You just see it in your inventory. It's going to be sitting there basically under your tools. It will last for 1 whole hour, letting you be able to explore a little bit more for a whole hour. The next most basic thing that you can craft whenever you first start, and you can actually do this at a camp. All you got to do is hit T as in Thomas, then place your camp down, and that's going to let you be able to, for one, get better heat and hypothermia resistance. So if you're actually about ready to die, keep you a little gravel, a little wood, and stuff like that to make you a camp. And then now you can sit here at your camp and get warm. You notice we're 10 degrees Celsius and then 0 when we move away from the camp. So it does give 10 heat whenever you actually are at your camp. And under weapon crafting, you're going to need to make you a torch. Torches actually do give you 5 degrees additional heat. So if you use all 3 of those items, which is a torch, your Heatium rock, those combined is 15, and then also the Spikemato, which is 5. If you eat that, then you're going to have 20 cold resistance. You're going to be able to survive many of the areas around in Way of Winter whenever they're too cold. So that's going to help you with the cold resistances. All three of those items, the basic items that you're going to use to actually survive. And that's going to let you be able to explore probably most of this area and this area as well. Another great way to counter cold is going to be making your gear with a good skin. There are different types of skins in Way of Winter, and this only applies to legs and chest pieces. Only those two pieces are going to be able to boost your cold resistance. But let's say, for example, we wanted to make just a rustic jacket with some cold resistance on it. We're going to choose what hides we actually put in this jacket, and there are different hides out there, and we're going to show you some of them that are quite easy to get. And when you scroll down through the list, you're going to notice there is a ton of skin that was added to the game that you can use to craft with. So some of these are 15, like ice bear skin and stuff like that. They'll give you 15 resistances to cold. We have seal skin, which we have quite a few of, and that's going to give you 10 as well. Reindeer hide, it's 10. And whenever you look at it, it does say it gives cold resist. So just kind of scroll down through here, see which skins you have. We're going to show you a few different locations where to get skins and where to get some of the most prominent skins. One of the most prominent are reindeer hides and deer hides. They both give cold resistances, as you can see here. Rabbit fur gives cold resist. Bear skin is actually quite easy to get. We'll show you where to get that as well, and that gives cold resist also. Crocodile actually gives heat resist. And hide, velvet, and seal skin, of course, whenever those, they give cold resist. Two of my favorite to use right off the bat, and they're quite easy to get, are polar bear or bear skin and seal skin. And seals are really easy to get. You can also do reindeer also if you want. You can see reindeers everywhere throughout this area. There's quite a few reindeers around. You can just shoot them and kill them. There's also this area right here where polar bears and seals, they're all up and down this coast right here for seals, it seems like. And then you also have polar bears up in the ice cap. There's also another area over here in Onyx right here, and that's polar bears and seals. So definitely check the shores and over in those two areas for your polar bears and seals. Sometimes you'll see the seals in the water, and sometimes they'll be on the shore or on these little ice caps right here. And then all you gotta do is just kind of kill them and then skin them. And they'll give you seal skin. Now right there is a polar bear. Same thing goes for them. All you got to do is just kill them and skin them as well, and they'll give you the bear skin. Those are the ones for the cold resist. Let's talk a little bit about the heat resist ones, like rawhide and crocodile. You can straight up craft rawhide if you go to crafting under your memetics and go to leatherworking. You can learn leftover, velvet, which is actually just feathers, and rawhide, which is hides. Once you've learned that in your memetics, you could do rawhide, and you can actually craft it out of many different things. Rawhide is available in the supplies workbench, and you can click on it and take many of the different skins and stuff like that to make rawhide. I would probably just take something cheap. One of the best places I've found personally is going to this place right here, and this is the Wishland, and it's like a theme park. The closest teleport is probably Greenfield Teleportation Tower. Also, of course, if you don't know what a reindeer looks like, it's like this right here, like Rudolph. And yeah, they're pretty much freaking everywhere. I just teleported here to that location we were just mentioning, and here I am getting some deer fur. Welcome to Wishland. One of the best places to get crocodiles I've found here at Wish is going to be right here. It's this thing that looks like this right here. I don't know what to even call that, but it's located right here, not too far from the Wish East Anchor. This is exactly where this is located. If you go down in here, you're going to notice there's several spawns of crocodiles in here. Right here was one. I just killed it on the way out. It's Eclipse Crocodile, and it'll give you crocodile hide. So once you get to the middle here, you're just going to go over to the toy to play section over here. And in here, you're going to notice there's several more crocodiles. I had one bullet left. And you can farm them. There's about 6 crocodiles in here total. You can just go around and look for them. But then you can just kill the crocodiles and get the crocodile skin. And if they're like most enemy respawns, they probably respawn every 5 minutes. There's also a little stage right here that's got flamingos, and that'll give you feathers if you're looking for velvet. You just sit there and kill them. We'll show you on the map here in a minute, but this is a flamingo, and look, we got a feather. Of course, you can kill anything with feathers, but they're here as well. Oh, look, there's another one. Another one. And the stage is located right here in the park. And that's the long and short of making stuff with different hides and furs. Now let's talk about some other foods and stuff that you can craft. Going into foods in this scenario is probably one of the smartest things you could do, honestly, because there's a few reasons why, and we'll show you. Now it took quite a bit of points for me to go into it, but if you can go all the way into dishes 3, down at the very bottom, you're going to get one of the most OP foods for this whole entire map. Okay, this is going to be an awesome food. There's also some other ones that you pick up going down through the tier list, but if you can get down to dishes 3 eventually, you're going to be able to make the all-weather food or the all-weather stew. And the all-weather stew is quite easy to make. It does give you 30% stamina on top of 30 cold and heat resistance. So this is a really great food. I hate to say it, but I think a lot of times I could just take this stew and go about anywhere on the map now and not worry about heat or cold resistance with the armor that I made with the hides. It does require some mats that we haven't went over yet, but the Spikemato is one that we have went over. It's a very common item. We have mint, sunny ginger, and ice melon. And where our base currently is one of the best places to farm all those. Stepping out in my front lawn, we're going to notice that right here in this area, right here, it's up in here, all this area, I do believe, you're going to notice that you can get sunny ginger, mint, and the ice melons super quick and easy. There is so much sunny ginger and mint in this area, and mats. Honestly, you have all kinds of ores. All the in-game ores are here. It's probably gonna get nerfed in the future, but you can get set here and get sunny ginger, which is this little pink or purplish looking plant, and mint, which has little flowers on the end of it, and it looks like that. There's also melons here. They're not as common. Melons are probably going to be your #1 item that you need the most of, because you can get all kinds of mint and ginger here. But the melons are a little bit less common, but they are here. And this is what the ice melon looks like right here. And you can grab them. And they're all throughout this area, all in this whole entire little valley here. You're going to be able to go up this hill as well towards the ice biome there, or snow biome. And you're going to find melons and mint and sunny ginger, everything you possibly need. You also got aluminum here as well as tungsten. There's some tungsten, aluminum here, copper, tin. You name it, it's pretty much here. All you gotta do is walk around and pick up all the melons and mint and sunny ginger and go to that one place we mentioned for Spikematos. There's also bunnies here if you want bunny fur and meat. And you can get bunnies here as well. And then all you gotta do is make electric stove or better and cook it. And that is gonna give you the all-weather stew. We're gonna make 4 of them. It looks like here we can go out and get more melons, but it looks like melons probably are #1 choke point when it comes to making a bunch of all-weather stews. These actually sell for 2,000 each. Also, energy links to the vendors. So if you're interested in making money kind of early, this is a kind of an easy way to do so. And then we're gonna take a look at this stew. This stew is absolutely nuts. It's insane. It'll give you that 30% stamina and that 30 cold and heat resist, which is amazing. I've honestly never had to do anything but this and then have some armor that's made with a little bit of cold resist. And so far in my travels, which I haven't done everything, but I mean, it's pretty much been all I need. The cold weather stew, I would beeline straight towards that if you had the opportunity to do so. We also have this bonus effect. It is a mimetic point under mimetic specializations, and it's called stove long-term storage. And whenever I make a stove, it will give it double the shelf life of dishes that I cook. So this thing's going to last forever. And then whenever I go to stick it into the refrigerator, you're going to notice that this thing's going to last for like 19 days. So it's going to last a really, really long time. And I would suggest using a refrigerator for your mint and stuff like that whenever you need to go and craft some more of this stuff. This is a really, really good food. Probably one of the only foods that you're going to need in this whole entire season. Like I said, it does require you to go all the way down to dishes 3, which is kind of expensive, but I think 100% worth it. We also have some that do just heat resist and some that do just cold resist as far as foods go, and that is minty meat salad. That is going to give you that 10% heat resist. Purifying heat is going to give you 20 heat resist, and that's chilled ice melon soup. which ice melons, ice cubes, and purified water. You got heat resist as well on ice mint tea. Coneflower is found pretty much in the areas that we mentioned for Spikemato. This is one of the earlier ones that you can actually craft. It's called salty roasted Spikemato, and this will actually give you 10 cold resist on top of your armor that you craft. And it just takes salt, which you can get from the ocean and then process, and then Spikemato. So there's tons of foods in here that you can actually make that's going to help you with your heat or cold resistance. None quite as good as the all-weather stew, which is the highest with 30 heat and cold. So eating foods, making armor, all that good stuff, making the Heatium, that's going to help you with your heat and cold resistances. There's also a ton of ways to keep cold or warm in this season. We're going to go over those very quickly. Under infrastructure, we're going to go below the Polar Expedition, which we've already unlocked for all the different types of heat rocks and cold rocks that we can make. And we're going to go down here and look at these two items right here, number 3, which is Chaosium, Extraction, and Polar Expedition 2. And Polar Expedition 2 is going to be able to make you craft the Chaosium lantern, and then we also have the Chaosium formula when we unlock that one, so we can actually make Chaosium. We're going to show you how to get that and make it. The thing you're going to notice about the Chaosium lantern is that it's going to give you quite a bit resistances to heat and cold. Basically, if your temperature is below 10, it increases your temperature by 15, and if your temperature is above 30, it reduces it to 15. So Chaosium, we're going to show you how to get that easily, and then also how to craft it. One of the few places I've found so far to get Chaosium is up here in this lava area right here. I like to go to this teleport, make sure you have the all-weather food on, and then you can come right straight here, which is the Fire Throat base teleportation tower. And once you get here, you can just kind of set a waypoint for up here at Fire Throat Fortress. I've noticed outside of that, in areas like that, that there's some Chaosium that's just sitting there that you can pick up. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this area is really high level, so you want to be very careful if you're low level like we are. We're only like level 27 here. And if you were to ride up here without dying and get up to this area right here, which is right in front of the Fire Throat's Fortress, I know for a fact that you can come up here and kind of steal you some Chaosium, like so. And we got some barrels of Chaosium just from grabbing it here. Quite a few, actually. And of course, it respawns the same as crates do. Also, sometimes you can get Chaosium in some of the POIs or locations where you can loot. Sometimes I've looted it from there. You also get it from the fire rocks. Then you could just take the Chaosium and then craft you a Chaosium lantern, which is right here, and it just requires glass, metal scraps, sulfur, and steel ingots. Then all you gotta do is go into your inventory and hit F on the item, and as long as you have Chaosium in your inventory, which we do, it's gonna sit there and use that Chaosium. 15 degrees right here, kind of in this biome. If we were to hit F again on it and stop it, like so, you're gonna notice it's gonna go back down to 0 degrees. So it's gonna definitely do what it says it's doing. There is also a way to get hot ore and craft it in your furnace, and you'll have to go all the way down here in crafting and go to explosive throwables. You're gonna have to go to the improved frost grenades. You're gonna need some frost grenades for you to actually harvest that ore, and or Molotovs for the cold ore also. Frost grenades are gonna cost you metal scraps, steel ingots, refined parts, and fireproof plastic, as well as some stardust source. And we'll craft a few of those, as well as some Molotovs. They will cost glass, carbon fiber fabric, sulfur, and some boiled water. Coming back to the same place we did earlier, the Fire Throat base teleportation, going up this mountain here, going towards, if you just kind of set like a waypoint and then teleport here. Around in this area, there's a ton of this hot ore, and all we gotta do is lob this grenade at it. That's gonna let us be able to harvest hot rock ore. Like so. And then you can go and get as much hot rock ore as you can. And this could be converted into Chaosium. Now for the ice ore, you're going to go over into these little biomes like these right here, either this one right here or this one right here. We have some bases set up here in our clan. We're just going to teleport over there. Over in this biome, or in these cold biomes here, you can find the ice ore pretty much all over, but we do find the most, it seems like, in this area. Once you find one of them, they look like this right here, and if you get real close to them, it's going to make you super cold and hurt you. Now the way you actually counter that is just throw a Molotov at it. Then you can farm it. The cold crystal ore. I like to come out in this ice sheet. There's actually an island, I think over there, maybe. On this island right here, you'll see a giant island right here in the distance, all the way up north. That is in the northern section of Vina. Same place we got polar bear skin and seal skin. You'll notice on this wall right here, there is a bunch of this cold ore. And it actually just killed a polar bear, looks like. Insane. The polar bear got killed by it. But all you gotta do is throw your Molotovs at it and then farm it. Ah, I'm on fire! He's on fire! And there's quite a few of them over here. There's like a few stacks of them, so if you get it in between them, maybe you can get 1 or 2 of them at a time. There's also 2 little chests here as well. Yeah, just throw them over there and you'll get you lots of that cold ore. Kinda like so. Oh, nerd. But be super careful, as you can die from heat if you throw more than 1 at a time. But once you've hit it with the molly, you can go ahead and farm. Once you get that cold crystal ore, you can bring it back to your furnace with acid and charcoal, and you can craft Chaosium. Kinda like so. Also with the cold crystal ore, you can make the Coldium, and that's going to give you the +10 resist. You can stack this with all of the food buffs and stuff like that and have a +10 resist, +30 with the food. You can have like 40 heat resist. You'll be laughing all day. So that is the ores kind of explained. You can also use in your Heatium, you can use the hot rock ore here as well, and that'll give you 10. I would probably just use charcoal, to be honest with you, because it seems like it's a little cheaper. So it's a little bit of how to keep your character warm when you're out in the environment. Let's talk a little bit about your base. So right now we're going to talk about cold, and right now we have a little heater here. We also have fires now available in the game for you to craft. If you hit O and go to your memetics, under building, all the way on the end here, we're going to go down to temperature control, and if you go down this tier, you're going to notice first one, you get campfire, and this is going to give you 5, or whatever you actually burn it with. You can actually burn different fuels like gas and whatnot, give you more, but the base is 5 with wood. You could do this right when you first spawn and go ahead and learn this campfire. This campfire will keep you warm. Also going down to temperature control 2, and that's going to give you the simple vintage stove, and we'll show you that as well. And of course down in 4, we have temperature control 3 and thermal tower, and 3 is a cooling fan. If you live in a lava biome, the cooling fan will reduce your heat in the house, and also the electric heater if you live in a cold biome, as well as the thermal tower, and we'll kind of explain that and make one of those for you as well. Whenever you're in your base, hit B and you go to function facility under facilities, and you're going to notice the campfire and the option for the vintage stove as well, which just still ingots and metal scrap. It's actually quite easy to craft. If you hit F on it, you're going to notice that you can actually burn log. Log is going to give you 5 degrees increase in the general area where you're located at, and you also have hot rock ore. That's going to give you 15 degrees. And charcoal is 10, so charcoal is probably one of the best ones to do, the cheapest, and that will definitely keep you warm whenever you're inside your base. Also, whenever you're inside your base, you do have a bonus to not getting hypo or hyperthermia. And whenever you're in your base, hypothermia and hyperthermia will not actually get severe. But the heater that we're going to talk about right now is this one right here. And it's called the electric heater, and it can go all the way up to 20 degrees Celsius. And it costs high voltage. Under logistics, you have to have it unlocked right here, electrical kit. And that's going to give you the option to make the high voltage, which is steel, rubber, acid, and electronic part. Then you can craft one of these bad boys and just hook it up to your power source. Now, the power source doesn't matter. It does have to be enough, though. And we're going to go up to the electric heater and hit F. And you notice you can adjust it. So we got it on 10 degrees. It's not really that cold where we live yet, but we can go all the way up to 20 degrees Celsius, which will increase it by 20 degrees and hit on. And that's going to give us, as you can see, 30 degrees inside of our base here. If we were to adjust it back down, we're down to 10 degrees Celsius. The one thing I'll mention about the simple vintage stove is that it'll actually do heat and cold. So you can use the cold crystal ore to run in this, or you can use the hot rock ore. So it'll do both. The heater just does heat. The fireplace just does heat. And as mentioned before, it will run off of different things like the barrel premium fluid, log, and charcoal, as well as portable mixed fluid. But it doesn't actually do cooling, as you can see. And we're going to craft a cooling fan just to kind of show you exactly how that works and how to hook up. We already had that one hooked up, and we actually had to wired up to do 2 different wires for some reason. I don't know if I just chose the wrong one, but so we're gonna go ahead and plop this one down here, and we're gonna connect it to some electricity. And then you can see it's about the exact same, only for cooling, and it will do -10 degrees Celsius. It will do 15 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius, and that will run, and it'll make it really cold in here. So this is great if you're in the lava area. There's 2 more things that do heat for your base, or just heat in general. And one of them I actually haven't went into yet, but it's called Polar Frontline. It's all the way down here in the bottom of this crafting tree from the explosive throwables, which we actually learned earlier to get the ore. The portable warmer will increase your heat by 20 degrees Celsius within 5 meters of it, and the portable air conditioner will do the same, reducing it by 20 degrees Celsius within 5 meters. And they take steel, tungsten, automatic parts. They're pretty much an in-game item, and they will give you additional 20 degrees either way, depending on which one you use. I personally haven't unlocked it because honestly, we haven't needed it. And I haven't needed it the whole time after I've done all these other methods. And the last thing we'll mention is in building all the way down here, thermal tower. And this is an actual thermal tower that you can craft, and it will warm a certain area. This thing does cost a lot of mats. It's aluminum ingots, steel ingots, metal scraps, electronic parts, and high voltage, which is actually 10. You need 10 high voltages, which is kind of expensive, but come up to your intermediate supplies workbench or better, and then you can craft it. They do take 20 acid, 10 electronic parts, 20 rubber, and 15 steel ingots each to craft, and you'll need 10 of those in total. So to craft the thermal tower, it actually doesn't go inside your territory, it goes outside of your territory, so it kind of borders your territory. You do have to get all the mats out. That means you can't build from boxes, so you got to grab all the mats out and then go ahead and place the thermal tower. Okay, now we're outside of our territory. We'll hit B and go to thermal tower. Okay, it looks like it may be a little too close to other thermal towers, so we may need to go and move it somewhere else. And once you find a place for it to plop down, you'll just left click and it will make you a thermal tower. Escape out of the build menu, come over here and hit F for technology. And you can see there's all kinds of different options for the thermal tower. We got to research some technologies and stuff like that. You can increase the range and stuff later on, but right now we're going to go over to manage and go down here to add Chaosium. And we're going to stick that Chaosium in there, like so. Looks like you can also set all kinds of permissions for it and stuff like that. I haven't really messed around with any of that. But you can also depot or put stuff into it. And there's different options here you could choose from. It looks like you got scorching heat, warm, and furnace. And then you can go down to cool, winter, and polar. And it says current temperature +5 degrees. So you activate a reactor here, which is the hot rock ore and the cold crystal ore. Grab some of that. So once we put 60 hot rock ore and 60 cold crystal ore into the depot, you got to go to the depot and place them inside of the device. All you got to do is go to technology, and then you can notice that the reactor can now be started. And that looks like it leveled it up to level 1, which is pretty neat. So there's several different options for you to upgrade down here, and you can do the heat spread, sulfur landscape, all kinds of different stuff that you can actually sit here and research after you do that. And it does require quite a bit of mats. We don't actually have these parts or that many parts currently to research. And all you gotta do is put the mats into the depot and research it. And it tells you how much time it takes to research it. And that's it. That's all we know about heat and cold for Way of Winter, Once Human's newest update. Don't forget, if you like what you see, to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribing will get you Once Human streams and videos. We do content, and we have been streaming it lately. We will be streaming Once Human until we finish Way of Winter. And hopefully, we'll see you next time. Peace.